Hurry! You're gonna need it. Enemy engaged.
Be careful. God only knows what kind of tech he's using.
You remember this video where I discussed what makes ARs so powerful? If you can recall, I did showcase to you a mini build, but it was a work in progress and needed a few tweaks so it could reach its full potential. Well, I've decided to revisit that build and complete it, but it's different now. Same concept, but the changes I've made have completely set it apart from its predecessor. Here's what I had before if you didn't see the video. I went with a mostly red core style of play, but in the Division 2 now, especially the last couple of title updates, builds aren't like they used to be, and if you don't utilize some of what I'm about to show you, then you'll be missing out on a lot of damage. The purpose of this build is to play to the strengths of an assault rifle specifically, so you can get the most out of it. Assault rifles are probably the most balanced weapon types in the game. Perfect optimal range against enemies close and far, just the right damage, and if calibrated with the right specs, will be the most fun you'll ever have with a weapon in a while. I've never been an all skill build kind of guy, because I don't particularly enjoy the handicap of not enough weapon damage, but on the flip side, never liked the all red style either. It's another handicap to me because there's no skill damage. Now if this were not the Division, then I'd agree with that style of play, but I just cannot let all this skill damage go to waste. That's why hybrids are the way to go for me. It's my favorite playstyle. What about you? Comment below and let me know. But let me show you this build. If you haven't guessed already, the way I cater to the AR strengths is with health damage. Not only that, but damage to armor. This is actually the only way to get this. The 25% on both, because with the primary as capacitor, it has a unique attribute combination. Look at this other AR. Do you see the difference in stats between this and the capacitor? Well, it's how all ARs are. Health damage for its main stat, which cannot be changed. For the capacitor, it's 12% damage to armor, which cannot be changed. Then 9% damage to health. Now this is just the start of it, because when looking at the build, you'll start to understand how this all comes together. You know I use the Hollow Man a lot. That's because it's a very good mask. I remember when its name attribute was 50% Hasbro, which was insane. I really like this health damage too though. Another 10% multiplicative added to the 9% from capacitor. And this is not only a damage to health build. The damage to armor is equally powerful. You'll need that to quickly shred through the armor of purple and yellow bar NPCs. Not only that, the damage to armor applies to skills. Oxidizer is especially great for this. It's one of the most useful skills to use in legendary difficulty. For one, it permeates through walls and directly damages the enemy's armor, and it can be stacked. I'm not saying you have to use this skill. That's the beauty of hybrids. The choice is yours when selecting which skills you want to have equipped. And so to maximize this, I have Contractor's Gloves adding to the 12% damage to armor on capacitor. I'll show you the stats in the end just so you can see how much I have. But I have a 3-piece Walker Harris & Company for weapon damage, damage to armor, and damage to health. Seems like just the right pieces for a build like this. I only wish I had better attribute rolls on them, but this means that no matter which enemy type I go after, I'm geared up for dealing either damage to armor and damage to health. Both. The chest piece talent I'm using is Spotter, and I'm sure a lot of you know what it does. And there are only a few ways you can pulse enemies without equipping Pulse. Either use a secondary weapon with the Technician Laser Link, or use Decoy, because when NPCs or players shoot it, then they'll be painted automatically and become pulsed. And a Decoy with a build having all of these skill tiers will last really long and be very durable. For me, here's how I play in regards to the skills. Depending on the situation is how I decide which one I use. For example, you know better than I how annoying it is when those White Tusk medics place their support stations in unreachable areas. This is where I pull out the Oxidizer to take it out in seconds no matter where it is. The radius is huge and its cloud lasts long. But if you want more firepower, use the Striker drone or turret. Those will serve as actually an extra man or two for you when playing solo. The final piece is Memento. I could go for Fenris for more AR damage, but Memento does so many things. It gives me an extra of all 3 cores and grants massive skill damage over time with trophies. This with Capacitor is perfect because Capacitor's talent gives you skill damage as well, which is what you'll need since the attributes you want on the build are crit, chance, and damage mainly. So when analyzing this build, I've come to the conclusion that overall, it'll give you way more firepower and damage than your standard DPS all red build. There's just too many advantages to running it this way. Look at the stats. And as I said in the thumbnail, 25% damage to armor and health equally. That's pretty insane. The crit values aren't as high as I would want them to be, but it's only because some of the gear pieces I have are bad rolls. I'm sure you guys have a way better gear than me. So I think everything is covered for this build. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything. Also, how you make your capacitor builds. It's awesome seeing the ideas you all have, but on that note, I'm done, and I'll see you in my next video. Be right out.